This is episode number 10 of the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. Welcome to the Feed Me, Fuel Me podcast. My name is Jeff Thornton, tech entrepreneur and fitness enthusiast, alongside Michael Anders and Jason Sani. Each week we bring you an inspiring person or message related to our 4 pillars of success: manifestation, business, fitness, and nutrition. Thank you for allowing us to join you on your journey. Now let's get started.
So what's good, fam? Episode 10, Feed Me, Fuel Me. We're finally here. Mike Anders here with Jeff and Jason, getting ready to roll. Today we are going to talk about meal prep, both in terms of action and as the new hot ticket in the nutrition industry right now. It seems like everybody's cooking something for somebody right now. And, we just want to talk about the good, the bad, the indifferent, and what you can do for yourself. And if you don't feel capable or you don't have enough time, some avenues that you can take to still keep yourself on track nutritionally. So, we'll go ahead and kick things off with where it stands as an industry, because I know as a gym owner we had, before we got on board with Scratch Culinary, we must have been solicited by, 6 or 7 independent distributors of meal prep, and it just seems to be like a big thing right now in both fitness and nutrition for as an income generator and to add value to your establishment. But from what I've seen in taste testing and whatnot, there is a huge difference. The disparity between the good ones and the bad one, it's like the Grand Canyon. It's ridiculous.
Major. I mean, from a convenience factor, it's huge. I see it's obviously a big issue. Me working with people firsthand, nutrition-wise, that's the biggest complaint that I hear is the convenience factor. So it's like, from where you can see when it comes to food prepping, it's like you're planning your success out. From a business model, I think it's a no-brainer for a lot of gyms if they have that space to be able to, add the benefits of helping their clients on the nutrition end, which is missing a lot of times. But then from a revenue standpoint, you can it's a no-brainer to be able to just add on to the services that you're doing, especially if there's something that you believe in. And it's like, even if you make your own food, the time that can be saved just by having food prep is huge. So, we'll talk a little bit about, how to make that choice, who it's for, maybe how to justify that budget. Because if you can free up time for productivity-wise, occasionally, I think that it can be worth it there. But you're right. I mean, it's like you have so many different choices. So it's, are you going to enjoy it? And again, that's how you look at food too. Like, I like to look forward to at least a few meals every day, and it's not about willpower and going without that type of stuff. And there's some food that truly is just fuel, and you'll look at it like that way, just kind of hitting your numbers, especially if you're at a slightly highly caloric load, or if you're newer to dieting. Like, you want to make sure that you're enjoying the process so that it's sustainable. So making sure that the food is palatable, that it's setting you up with energy, and that you actually look forward to eating it. But you're right. We start to see these options all over the place, and let's just talk about, I guess, why who it's convenient for. What have you seen from feedback from owning a gym? I guess from.
For me personally, it's been huge just because I'm not the biggest fan of leftovers.
Yeah.
So, keeping things as fresh as possible is big on my list. And, even if it has been in the fridge for a couple of days, just being able to, just having it taste fresh is a big deal to me. But also, I don't make it home, in the middle of the day very much. So even though I only live, about 1.5 miles from the gym, getting home, making something quick and healthy, and getting back out and doing, whatever the day demands isn't necessarily a reality for me either. So the convenience is a big thing. But for me, it's the economics of it all. I'm the biggest fan of, because for me, to meet the caloric demands of what I do to myself physically every single day is a tall order. And I consume a lot of food day in and day out. And just to, substantiate that in dollars and cents for you, when I was bodybuilding, I would spend $150 to $200 a week on food in my show prep. Right? So that's anywhere from $600 to $800 a month just on groceries. Then when I wasn't in show prep, and I was just doing, eating whatever, whenever, if I go out, just me by myself, not including, what my wife puts down, I'm going to spend anywhere from $35 to $50 at a restaurant by myself. So when it comes to meal prep, if I'm spending, anywhere from $7 to $12 a meal, it still works out for me financially. And knowing that about myself, when people say that they can't afford meal prep, I think that they haven't done the addition of subtraction yet in their mind. Because I think when people say, when their objection to a meal prep service is cost, I think in their mind they're still thinking that their habits are going to stay the same.
Well, that and the commitment to the idea of most services that people think that you have to commit to that big lump sum of $300 or $500 for a weekly or a monthly type of thing. So before we talk about that, and just maybe this doesn't apply to a lot of people, we will be talking a lot about just planning success and doing this on your own, so you don't have to do a meal delivery company.
Right.
And the same thing if you are away, how you can pack foods and plan success. I'm currently working with a big weight loss group right now, and that's one of the biggest questions I get is planning success, setting yourself up so that you're not looking to scramble and you're without different options, and stuff that's real, stuff that you're getting home. And I work with parents or people that have kids, and it's here's something a lot of people don't take into consideration. It's you're not going to make two different meals, one for your kids and one for yourself. And you find that I've heard this exact scenario 3 different times in the last couple of weeks. It's they get home from a busy day and you end up putting your kids to bed, hanging out a little bit, and you're going to eat some of the leftover food. And it's it's chicken nuggets or pizza or pasta. And it's is it realistic that you're going to go and make more food? And how much? And then it's well, I don't even know how much I need as it is. So it's you have to take those things, I think, into consideration.
Just being able to put your life on autopilot is the biggest thing for me. Whether you're doing it yourself or you have somebody deliver that food for you, just having it there readily accessible, that it's good and it's the right kind of fuel when you need it, and you don't have to think about it. That's the biggest thing for me. Now that I CrossFit versus when I was bodybuilding. When I was bodybuilding, I was doing all my meal prep myself, and it was a pain in the ass. I hated it, And now that I have somebody cooking for me and it actually tastes good, because I wouldn't feed the stuff I made for myself to my dog. It was just straight fuel at that point. So now that we have, a system in place where it's convenient, it's affordable, and it tastes good, as far as I'm concerned, we're winning out.
And like you said, it's peace of mind. It's if you're disciplined, you've been doing it for a while, you know what it takes, and so you'll eat whatever because it's part of the process. If you're newer to dieting and then you eat food that you don't enjoy, and this is where it can scare people away, it's you eat a food and you're wow, that tastes like dog food. I'm going to go back. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? And that's the way people look at it, because there's a transition. When you're going into making a change with your lifestyle, with nutritional eating, and this is feedback that I get from people, your taste buds have not adapted to eating really nutrient-based foods yet. You're used to instant gratification, explosions of flavor, and so on. And that will come. It's there. But there's a learning curve, and it's when you eat most processed food, it's designed to taste really good and light up your reward center, and that releases serotonin. When serotonin comes down, as it will, you get this epinephrine type of feeling, and then you're going to crave that same type of feeling. So it kind of can start this whole cycle. And that's what keeps people in that cycle. Now, if you try to go onto a diet and you resist feeding yourself again, you get what some people call kind of a carb flu. You get brain fog, and you really feel out of it. That's a real thing. So you have to expect that and know that it's worth making the changes and that you can set yourself up with a plan. And that's where meal planning can actually support you quite a bit. If you say, hey, I'm committed to this for a week or two. I'm just going to give it a shot and just kind of go on autopilot and see what happens, see what people have been talking about and so on. And you have to know that it will get better. And it's that same idea that you have to weigh out the rewards if you do something, and you also have to weigh out the rewards if you don't do something. Because every time you do something, especially when it comes, nutrition, fitness related, I think there's something that comes along with that. And being passive has its price to pay. It's like, well, you're not taking action in something which is going to set you up, with something for the long run. Jeff, you're that guy. You're on that swole patrol, getting big. Check this guy out on social. Just
swollen at the gym, man.
Just blowing up. Myron.
Myron.
M-I-R-I-N.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
But
Myron.
I mean, obviously, we've talked a little bit on nutrition, but how much does it play in a role for you having it set up and planned for the day? You're obviously super busy. Mm-hmm. You're up all hours of the night working, doing tech work and all that type of stuff.
Jeff
At the same
sleep.
time, do you sleep? And how much of a role does that play in having a game plan ahead of time? Is meal prep something you've ever done, or do you just do it yourself?
Yeah, I do everything myself when it comes to meal prep. I think it's huge as a game plan because, as people, we're not the most we don't make the best decisions when you're hungry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how disciplined you are on any type of diet, you can fall off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Lately, I've just been going like more of the, I guess, meal by meal. I cook every meal and then just consume it from there. But in the past, I used to do a lot of meal prep and just cook everything in bulk for that week.
Yep.
Similar what the food services are doing now. Cook in bulk, maybe twice a week, that Sunday and that Wednesday or whatever. Because like I said, the food gets stale over the 3-day period. And I would consume it from there. But for me, that process, I enjoyed it. It was cool, the meal prepping. But
how do you enjoy it? Like what when you say that? Just the autonomy, like you are in control, or you actually enjoy the cooking?
I enjoyed both actually because it was more of a relaxing thing for me at the time because I was the person in control of what I was putting in my body. So it helped me understand where my sources were coming
Jeff's
from a little bit better.
Freak.
Yeah, I guess I am sort of a control freak. Control where my sources are coming
freak.
from. And that's why I did it initially. More from every time I do something, I want to understand the sort of like the science behind it or how it works for my body per se. But nowadays, I think there's a lot of value in meal prep. My brother and I, we've talked about like, man, if we could just hire like a chef, like while we're working, just come home and have the food ready. That'd be a godsend. So I haven't given the ready to go meal preps a shot. I think I will just to try it. But I've always felt like, I guess more of a mental thing is that, man, like that food tastes like crap when I did it myself.
Yep.
Back in the day. I was like, how can they really manipulate the food to taste good over a long period of time?
That's the challenge.
And that was the challenge for me, trying to get over
hard.
that. Because for the longest time, man, after smelling that bodybuilding food and Durs and Jason, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like, it almost makes me sick to my stomach to even just like smell that. And I felt like meal prep meals would have that same type of.
Yeah.
I'll never touch tilapia ever.
Yeah.
Again,
So but that's for me. I think I've done the meal prep and now it's just meal by meal, but I think it's very efficient because we can all fall off track very easily.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's like you said you were considering it, and it's somebody made a good point to me, and I can buy into this. I'm so used to prepping up my own food, and I don't mind it because I'm a food freak, and I love good tasting food. But it's almost like hiring a personal assistant. You can think about it. And here's where I can justify this. At the same time, you have to prep up food. And you can think like, well, I don't spend that much time cooking food. Well, if you got to think about even driving to get food, going and get it, ordering it, there's time involved with that. And let's just say for the benefit of maybe it's only 20 minutes or 30 minutes per meal. If you for 2 days a week had all your meals taken care of, or even a couple of your meals, and you decided to trade in that time for saying, all I'm going to do, I'm going to purely focus on that time, like maybe 30 minutes of just getting stuff done that I don't, high priority actions, like that's a commitment that I'm going to do, that is invaluable. And it's like, it's almost like paying a personal assistant. And that's the way you could justify it, is like, I'm paying for this, like I'm going to pay somebody to get work done. So it's going to hold myself accountable to doing something. And it's funny because I've had companies, provide me with food, and I've tried it out a little bit here and there. And it's almost like the times where I'm used to making food, I'm like, wow, what do I do at this time? And it's like, some work that needs to get done is just shining bright and staring right at me. And I'm like, all right, it's kind of a cool factor. And it's like, I don't take into consideration how much time goes into this. And I bring this up because it was pretty cool. I saw this guy who's his name's Dallas Hartwig, who started It Starts With Food with his wife. It's a big, the whole 30 challenge, you've seen it go around like crazy. Mm-hmm. Since he's done that, he's taken on a new project called More Social, Less Media. And what I like about this is it just gets people to be more in contact with people. And what the whole program is, it has like an app service so you can document how much time you spend on social media and the internet in general. For instance, it will track every time you log on to check to see if anybody liked your photos or your status updates on Facebook. Because I definitely don't recommend having all those post notifications, because that's just going to distract you.
Totally.
But where I'm going with all this is it blows your mind when you can become aware of what you actually do with your time. The people that think they know what they do with their time really don't. And it's like most of these people will spend 2 hours a day or more just checking status on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook. And that's not even like posting and sharing stuff. That's just checking to see updates on what other people are doing. And if you can be control with that, you can also learn to like limit it and when you're going to do it and when you're going to be more focused. And the same thing goes for how much time you spend into food, and if you can free up a little bit of time. And I know it was a long rant on that, but it goes into awareness, and it's the same thing with tracking your food. It's a pain in the ass to deal with at first, but if you have that awareness, you then have the ability to make changes for the better, and so on.
Yep. That increased awareness, that increased productivity, those are all byproducts of, taking nutrition into your own hands, or, being self-aware and understanding that that's never going to be part of your deal, and putting that responsibility on someone else so that you can then hold yourself accountable nutritionally. And I think that's ultimately, the part of the triangle of fitness, as I like to call it. It's a lot easier to establish that lifestyle of physical activity because you have one place to go, for 1 hour a day, and you're going to spend 6 to 8 hours a day in bed, but it's the other 17 hours that really dictate whether or not you meet your goals, and being aware of where you're at in that space, and the time it takes to facilitate those gains nutritionally will definitely put you in a much better place. So whether you take it upon yourself to start cooking on your own, or hiring on a meal prep service, you're winning either way, because now you're in control of what you put in your body, that as you become more in tune with how your body responds to food, which that's a topic that we'll talk about at another time. It just further validates the experience when you can look at how your body responds when you simply remove bread, or you stop drinking dairy, or you kind of move through this process of elimination with the nutrition game, and just see what your body actually does when you mix and match all these things, and how much better your body processes stuff, how you respond to exercise, how much your energy levels, how you sleep, all that kind of good stuff is a direct byproduct of how you eat.
Yeah. And so I want to talk about do-it-yourself meal prep, because I think there's a lot of value in that. I'll give some of the tips.
Tell them about the crock pot, bro.
The crock pot's where it's at. So it's funny. I wouldn't say I was a hater on the crock pot, but I don't know, maybe it's because as a kid there was always something crocking on the crock pot, and I didn't connect it with something that I loved. Like, yeah, it kind of tasted like soul food, but I didn't attach it to like getting jacked and tan and like being really lean. And I think you probably have one in your closet right now. Look, I bet it's in there. And I heard more and more people talking about it, and it's funny because I love to cook. I truly do. And I love the product that comes from it. I love the act of cooking and like serenading myself and listening to slow jams in the process. And to me, it's almost like a peaceful meditation, which is probably hard for some people to relate to. but the food's that good.
My man is putting basil on Boys to Men.
I am. I really am. I'm not even kidding, dude. I really do have. I have a playlist. It's you can check it out on Spotify.
I want you to send me the playlist.
Baby making / food making music. I'm not even kidding. It's good.
The baby making
really
recipe.
good. But so this crock pot type of thing. So who doesn't love like pulled pork or pulled chicken or that like tender beef, and it's so easy to do on your own. And the cool thing about a crock pot, I picked one up for $13 at Target. I got a little smaller one. The idea is you throw something in there, like the other day I threw four chicken breasts in there, and then you just put some like Mexican seasoning, or you can put some some green chilies, whatever you want to do. Make it simple at first, and then you put it on low, or high will get it cooked in like 4 hours. Low will get it cooked in like 8 hours, and you can just leave going your day. You come back, and it's just tender and it falls apart. So if I did the math, let's say 4 or 2 pounds of chicken, we'll say, is if there's essentially 4 servings at 25 grams in each pound, that is 8 servings, so that could get you a couple days or whatever. Really low maintenance without really having to stress. If you go a little over, a little under in time, it's not a big deal at all. And a lot of them have like, the maintenance mode that you can just keep on like warm or low or whatever. But the point of this is you have it prepped up in your fridge. Now you have serving, so now you don't really run into an issue. And so it's like you might just heat that back up and throw it in with some like leafy greens or some avocado or guacamole or rice or sweet potato or whatever. So from a convenience standpoint, it's a no-brainer, and then it's just full of flavor. You can add whatever you want into it. It's cheap. Your average portion is going to be like a couple dollars or less, and then you make it taste like whatever you want. You want Italian, throw some tomatoes, some sauce in there. You want Thai style, you could put some like peanut butter and like soy sauce alternative and lime juice. Sounds crazy. It's delicious. Just try it. Mexican seasoning, all that type of stuff. So it's super easy, low maintenance. And the mess, there is no mess. You just drain it at the end, and it's easy to go. So it's like anytime I give tips for cooking, it's like I want to strip away the intimidation about the mess portion of it, that it doesn't need to be that time-consuming or messy. So have you guys used a crock pot?
I love the crock pot.
Yeah.
Huge fan. When I was in my show prep, I used it a ton, and my wife uses it quite a bit when she cooks at the house too. But it's everything that you said it was. It's super easy, and it doesn't matter. You're not glued to the kitchen. You put it all in there and you set it, and literally you walk away and you come back and it's ready to rock and roll.
Like sorry to cut you off. I'm not even in my kitchen right now, but there's food that's cooking. It's slow cooking, and when I go back, it's gonna be ready. Yeah. And it's nice to know, and it's gonna be ready to feed me today and tomorrow. Yeah. What's in my crock pot? You can guess.
It's super good. Like you said, you can make it taste like however you want. Especially when it comes to protein. Meat in general will keep a lot longer than vegetables will. So, I mean, even if you were just exclusive to prepping meat and then doing your vegetables and stuff like that as needed to keep it, as fresh tasting as possible, even that compartmentalization makes it a lot more manageable from one meal to the next, which seems to be the biggest hurdle for people when it comes to nutrition outside of just the deprivation of salt and sugar, is the time, and the actual act of prepping food is a huge intimidation for people. So when you can strip away all that stuff, like you were saying, the adoption of new behavior becomes that much easier because you have one less barrier to overcome.
Yeah. Today's show is brought to you by Crockpot.
Oh Lord!
But it's true, man. It's true. I mean, anything that you can do to ease the transition, you're going to make the adoption of new behaviors that much exponentially easier.
And then the shortcut is the enjoyment factor, and that's what it is. It's not even, it's like I try to sell people on kind of win-win benefits to different things, especially when it comes to like nutrition. I always talk about win-win, like, you see that in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But what I mean by that is like enjoy now and later. It's making your job easier and for the better. You know what I mean? Whereas like fast food is just fast food. I want to keep people out of that drive-through. And it's like, but also I'm aware that people are busy and don't want to spend a lot of time doing things. So it's like, if you want it to be super flavorful, throw a bunch of seasoning, all that type of stuff in there. But it's like, before I was baking things. I'd bake like 6-8 chicken breasts at a time and then just chop it up. Or, beef, I'd cook 1 to 2 pounds at a time and then just store it to the side. And it's like, you can still do those types of things. But it's just nice to know that at any given moment I can open my fridge and have something I can throw together really quick and enjoy myself, instead of just like a protein bar, instead of like a protein shake or whatever. It was going to be better with real food.
It's real food. It's nutrient dense, and your body's going to process that a whole lot more efficiently than anything that's manufactured.
Yep.
I think as far as meal prepping too, what I found helpful is a lot of people don't know, because I travel a lot, so it's meal prepping saved my life with travel, because you're not spending a lot of time buying foods that you would not ordinarily buy. So if you guys didn't know, or looking for them. So if you didn't know, like if you're like a huge traveler or doing stuff like that, you're allowed to take meal prep containers on the plane with you and eat. So it's a cost-effective way of not spending your money while you're traveling on a plane eating that type of food. And also, another thing I do when I travel is, as far as meal prepping, is the hotels I stay in are all extended stay hotels. So I don't stay in what you consider like the normal Hiltons or Marriotts. I stay in Marriott brand hotels.
Right.
But I stay in, like, for instance, like a Residence Inn, because all of those have full kitchens. You have full-size refrigerators, ovens, stove. And then what I would do from there is, if I have meals, I'll just bring them with me. But if I don't, I'll go to my Walmart and I'll buy the food and cook it in that hotel. So then it eliminates the decision of making bad choices on the road. So you're not eating out, because I don't like eating out. It takes you out. But those are other things you can do as far as could help you on your decision making within meal prep as well.
I love that, especially the part about going to Walmart on the road, because I think a lot of people, when they look at nutrition, they have this all or nothing mentality that just stimulates failure altogether. Something is better than nothing when it comes to nutrition, especially when you're in the very, very beginning. And if you can go to Walmart, even though it's not Whole Foods, you can still keep yourself on track and accomplish a lot of goals. So you don't have to have the exclusivity of name brand, organic, non-GMO, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff is just icing on the cake. But if you have no other choice and you're left with having to do the extended stay and cook your own meals, take your ass to Walmart and get the chicken breast and the vegetables and all that kind of good stuff, regardless of quality, quote unquote, and keep yourself, still make those good decisions and keep yourself on track. Just because you're away doesn't mean you have to go off the rails.
Right. And there's always ways around it, because starting out, I didn't know you could take your own food on the plane,
Nutrition hacks.
Yeah. So that stuff I found is just really beneficial starting out. And if you're just like new to meal prepping, I'd say, and you don't know the type of food sources to make. If you think meal prepping is like, okay, I'm meal prepping, I'm putting potato chips in my stuff,
bag lunching it.
But I would say, if you don't have the money to do a meal prepping service, I would piggyback off some brands that you see. Like, if you look at like a meal prepping service, they list some of the foods that go within their meal prep service, and you could sort of take the list that they're using and then cater it to your at-home meal prepping. Yep. And that's what I would say if you don't have the money to do meal prepping or do the meal prep service.
Yeah, baby steps. I think it's good. Look for inspiration, recreate, and then, and there's savage ways of meal prepping, like just doing what you can. Like, there's times, when you're on a budget, like the sardine life. What do you know about that? It's giving you your omega-3s, your vitamin D.
I know about that potato and rice cake life.
Your selenium. I think it's a step up from tuna fish. It doesn't smell as bad, but I recently been playing around with sardines. I know it's crazy, but my older brother ate them, and was I thought he was just way ahead of his time as far as health wise. And then I heard like Tim Ferriss, who's got podcasts with like millions of listeners every month, and he had on this big keto doctor expert that was talking about starving cancer and all this fascination. And I saw more and more people eating these things. I'm talking about Wild Planet sardines. You can get them anywhere at like the grocery store. But from convenience standpoint, you can just eat these things, and it's protein, vitamin D. You get all these vitamins and minerals, and high in omega-3s, and you absorb them super easy. Don't knock it till you try it. I had a fear of these things for like all of my life until realizing they're actually really not that bad. Not that I would make like a sandwich or throw them into anything, because I don't want to corrupt the foods that they're associated with. But I'll just eat them, and it's like I'll tell anybody it's better than any protein bar that's out there. So we're looking for sponsorships. If there's any sardine companies out there, get at me. But
hook a brother up with that.
And you can travel with them, and that's where I'm going. And
yeah,
it's like,
that's true.
Just watch out who you're eating next to on the plane. That's not nice.
Explosive.
Karma's gonna hook you up for that one.
Ooh.
But yeah, and then leave you with a couple things when you're looking for meal prep. Obviously, get feedback from people that you can trust. Some cool things that I've seen on sites that people have is with the meal prep. The location wise, does it make it convenient? Like are there pickup locations or places that you're going to go on a regular basis that remind you to pick it up? Obviously, does it fit your budget? And look for different options. Like, don't feel like you need to commit to a month of it. I've seen programs that have like 5 meals a week or 10 meals or whatever. Commit to that, and you can still enjoy and be social eating other meals with people. You don't have to like pack your meal in your fanny pack or man satchel or something, or woman satchel, and just pull it out when you're with other people. But it will take care of one of those meals and make your time a little bit easier. And then you get feedback from people. Ask for samples. A lot of these companies want you to try their products. So, try it out for a day or two and make sure that it meets your needs, that you'll actually enjoy it, that it's fresh. Some of the meals don't require to be heated up. Like a lot of the meals I've seen, I don't heat up. I just eat it how they are, or maybe I'll throw in a pan to warm them up. So I look for those. The convenience factor, is it fresh? Does it meet my needs? Do they use quality ingredients? And who's making the food? Is it just somebody that thought this was a cool business idea? Or is it somebody that knows a little something about nutrition and then also knows something about cooking? Because those are two different things. And it's like some of the companies have a reputable chef, tied into, a reputable, somebody that knows about why they're using the ingredients and they're measuring out their ingredients. And that's big because it's like there's convenience and then there's food that's helping you out. What's something you look for just to leave people with when you're hunting these foods down? Or these companies.
So make sure it tastes good. Because if it doesn't taste good,
and there's food that tastes good out there. Okay, so don't think that that you have to like.
No.
Adjust.
So
yeah.
You don't just make sure that it's something that you're going to be able to stick with for however long you commit to it, and then give it an honest shot and allow your body to adapt to your new nutritional demands. And after weighing the pros and cons after a trial period, then you can go ahead and make a legitimately intelligent, educated decision as to whether to stick with it or adjust course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, getting started is better than not starting at all, and just kind of figuring out what your body will do. That you'd be really impressed with, once you create that time for yourself.
Well, yeah.
What your body's able to do.
All right. Feed Me, Fuel Me. Get on, review it if you feel like it helped you. We'll be choosing a couple positive reviews to send a free crock pot and some swag gear too if we like your review. I promise. So, thanks for tuning in, and you can find us at Feed Me Fuel Me, I'm Jeff Thornton, it's I-M, right? Mm-hmm. And at Coach Durs.
Yep, with a Z.
With a Z, and at Jason Sani. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to check out the full show notes and get connected with us at feedmefuelme.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to all of our social media on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at feedmefuelme. We're looking forward to connecting with each and every one of you. If you found this episode inspiring in any way, please rate, comment, and subscribe so we can continue on this journey together. Also, share it with your friends on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, or any other social platforms that you use. We really appreciate you spending your time with us today and allowing us to join you on your journey. We would love to hear your feedback on this episode, as well as topics for future episodes. To end this episode, we would like to leave you with a quote by Zig Ziglar. "You were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win." Thank you again for joining us, and we will catch you on the next episode.